Let's talk about something that every living soul seeks: pleasure. Pleasure gives us a spike in happiness, which used to be used to reinforce our most important habits for survival. But these days, it's used to reinforce habits that are killing us. Do you feel like you're stuck on an endless roller coaster loop of chasing pleasure, whether it's through social media, junk food, video games, or porn? Maybe you feel like your entire day is wasted on useless, instantly gratifying activities. Things that excite you while you do them, but leave you unfulfilled and perhaps even depressed after you finish them. Well, I have news for you. It doesn't need to be this way. You might already suspect this. You just don't know how to break free of the vicious cycle of highs and lows. Maybe it's because you feel like you get bored easily or have nothing else to do. Don't worry, because in this video, I'll present you with ideas and advice that you can implement into your life to be more productive, happier, and more fulfilled, all while making progress towards your goals. You can either receive pleasure instantly or delay it. In all of human history, we've been conditioned to receive pleasure instantly. Why is that? Well, imagine this. You're a caveman living thousands of years ago in a forest where there's little to no security. You don't even know where your next meal is coming from. Do you have the time to think about what you'll do tomorrow or in 5 years? No, you don't. All you can focus on is making sure that you survive today, and that requires comfort and pleasure. When your ancestors stumbled across some honey or fruit, or caught an animal, they didn't think about calories or that latest fad diet. They ate as much as they possibly could and got a rush of happiness. They felt happier eating high-calorie foods than eating grass because their brains were telling them that this is what would keep them from starvation longer. This same chemical reward system reinforced acts like reproducing and successful social interpretations, all based on increasing odds of survival and continuation of the species. Makes sense for back then. Fast forward to today. Technology has grown rapidly in recent decades, and our human brains have not been able to keep up with it. If you're watching this video, you probably don't have to worry about where your next meal is coming from. These days, you don't require comfort and pleasure to tell you what to do to stay alive tomorrow. But a part of your brain does know that, since it hasn't been able to evolve with modern technology. So what does your brain make you do then? It makes you chase things that are pleasurable the moment you do them, such as scrolling through social media or eating junk food, because these effortless things release a chemical called dopamine. Our brains are naturally wired to do things that release dopamine in the easiest way, like the modern examples we already mentioned: social media, video games, junk food, etc. The downside of instantly gratifying actions these days, however, is that they leave you unfulfilled in the long run. Sure, in the old days, you didn't have to worry about the long run, but it's crucial to realize that things have changed. Companies that give you instantly gratifying things know that they're playing with your caveman's reward system. They profit by scientifically and systemically creating things that get you addicted to them. Take social media, for instance. It has been optimized to give their users as much pleasure as possible to make sure they stay hooked. Everything, the color schemes, likes, content, notification sounds, they've all been designed to make sure you stay on the platform longer. The longer you stay on, the more advertisements you see, and the greater the company's profits are. Same goes for video games, junk food, and other instantly gratifying items. The way of earning profits just slightly varies. You've literally been manipulated by these companies, and that's not even your fault, because they're playing with your evolutionary reward systems. But now, it's your responsibility to make sure you escape this trap, because if not, you remain stuck in this endless loop. And what does that leave you with? Tons of time wasted, which could have been spent with your family or learning new skills. Also, poor mental health, which makes life less enjoyable by making you less mindful of the present moment. And unfulfillment, that feeling of emptiness that comes with not achieving anything valuable. All that, of course, leads to unhappiness. But as mentioned earlier, if you feel like you live every day with nothing accomplished by the night, I've got good news for you. It doesn't have to be that way. You don't need to live life like that. And I'm going to show you exactly how you can live a fulfilling life. A life full of productiveness, achievement, and happiness. Step 1. Dopamine detox. Dopamine is the reward chemical that gives you desire and motivation to do a certain task. Habits that are instantly gratifying, such as scrolling on social media and eating junk food, release way more dopamine in your brains in the short term than other productive habits, such as gaining knowledge, exercising, and continuing your wealth journey. Picture this. You have a book about entrepreneurship on your reading list, which you haven't read yet. You can either choose to read it, which you know you should do, or you could play video games and jump on Instagram. More often than not, most people in this situation would rather choose to play video games or use social media, even if they know they shouldn't do it, even if they know it doesn't help them reach their long-term goals. Why is that? Simple. Since social media and video games release way more dopamine in the moment than reading a book on business, your brain is more motivated to play the video games or use social media. See the trap here? It feels better right then to procrastinate and do other things. This is how these companies play around with your reward system, using them to make themselves more money by keeping you hooked on their content. By dopamine detoxing, you simply track down which instantly gratifying, high dopamine releasing activities you indulge in during the day and reduce the amount of time that you spend on them. Don't worry about boredom. You'll replace those activities with productive habits, which I'll mention here in a moment. If you want to take it a step further, you can even cut them out entirely for a certain amount of time, ideally for at least a month or two. When you've cut them out, you replace them with productive habits such as eating healthy, exercising, fostering meaningful relationships, or learning a new skill to gain wealth. These activities release dopamine too, just not as instantly as the unproductive and addicting ones. These healthier activities delay gratification, and delaying gratification goes hand in hand with dopamine detoxing. This process will help your happiness levels stay more consistent throughout the day, without the need for those instant gratification habits that spray your brain with dopamine like a squirt gun. So, we just described step 1, which is detoxing from your current dopamine levels. Step 2, delaying gratification. Let's go back to the reading and video game social media analogy from earlier. After playing video games or using social media for hours, you don't feel fulfilled because a lot of time and attention was wasted. But while doing them, you're distracted and have a desire to continue doing them. Reading a business book, on the other hand, might not be fun while you're doing it, but pleasure does get released after you've completed it. That's an effect of delaying gratification. Something that can help make this transition easier is breaking that book down into smaller goals. In the last video, we talked about the importance of writing down your plan to reach your goal. So making it a goal to read one chapter at a time means you can get that dopamine hit of accomplishment after every chapter, rather than waiting until you get all the way to the end of the book. Breaking long goals down into smaller ones make it way easier to stay on track. Consistent baby steps, remember? This is how you can retake control of your life and use your own chemical reward process to your advantage, instead of letting other companies abuse it for their own gain. Truth be told, as long as you're hooked on instantly gratifying activities, delaying your gratification will be extremely hard to do, since your body is used to releasing a lot more dopamine in short, frequent bursts. That's why dopamine detoxing from instantly gratifying habits will make delayed gratification habits more fun. If you stay disciplined and focused on the habits that will bring fulfillment in the long run, you'll already be ahead of 90% of other people. While they're busy with their addiction to scrolling social media, wasting their time, and lowering their attention spans, you'll be out there educating yourself, spending quality time with your friends and family, and perhaps showing off what skills you've learned. What a boost to your pride that's going to be. That wraps up step 2, which is sacrificing instant gratification and instead delaying it. Step 3, using courage, patience, and momentum to push through the start of the journey. If you can successfully gather the courage to just start, you'll see how much easier the journey ahead of you gets. Imagine that in the next 6 months, you eat junk food, play video games, scroll on social media for hours, and binge watch a bunch of Netflix series. Tell me, how would you feel while doing these activities? Well, you're a person who's on their wealth journey, so deep down, you'll probably feel empty. But just for the sake of the example, let's say that most people would say they feel good and comfortable. They receive pleasure and enjoyment, dopamine gets released, and all is good. However, when looking back at the past 6 months, you'd feel disappointed in yourself, frustrated and depressed too, I assure you. And when feeling all down and depressed, you'd like a new dopamine hit to make you feel better, which is received by instantly gratifying habits, which would in turn make sure you stay stuck in this trap of instant gratification. Now, let's say that during these 6 months, instead of overindulging in instantly gratifying activities, you take a different path. You learn a few new skills, which bring you fulfillment and a positive self-image. You eat properly, so you can live life with a healthy body and mind. You read, so you can gain knowledge and apply it to your life. You journal, so you can learn about yourself and your thoughts in order to increase your self-awareness. You work on a business, so you can increase your wealth. At the end of those 6 months, you'd feel proud. Your self-image and self-esteem would increase, and confidence would skyrocket, because then you'd know that you're worth more than what social media makes you feel. You'd be grateful for the discomfort of delaying gratification and realize you've seen its benefits. Now, I realize we're talking about real life here. Yes, during the first 6 months, you might have bad days where you just want to watch Netflix and order some junk food. It will definitely be a bit uncomfortable and annoying at the start. But after getting in a routine, seeing the benefits, and gaining momentum, you won't quit. You'll stick to the plan of delayed gratification. At that point, that's also when you'll wonder why other people would ever in their right mind choose to spend 6 months like the first example, rather than like the second example. And guess what? It's because they're not in their right mind. They're trapped in that endless roller coaster loop of instant dopamine hits, a loop created by companies that are good at what they do. Luckily, you're breaking free of that. Congratulations on learning step 3, gathering the courage to make a change and being patient while you build momentum. Sacrificing instant gratification is always worth it. Sure, a few bits of junk food or a movie with friends or family every once in a while won't harm you. But beware. Beware of these companies, social media especially, trying to make you stay hooked on their content and platforms by playing with your ancient reward system to make money off of you. Times have changed, and it's time to make your brain adjust better to the modern society, where we are required to delay gratification instead of receiving it instantly if we desire success. Delaying gratification not only lets you make progress toward your goals, but it also allows you to feel more fulfilled and happier in your life. And once that momentum has been set, you'll struggle to understand why anyone in their right minds would choose instant gratification over delayed gratification. If there's one thing that's beneficial to keep in mind, it is to realize that when you overindulge in instantly gratifying activities, you'll look back on your life with shame, nothing to be proud of, unfulfillment, emptiness, and hopelessness. However, by delaying gratification, you'll look back at your life with pride, fulfillment, and happiness. And you and I both know that we'd rather choose to look back at our lives with pride rather than shame. In the modern world, where the majority of the population is busy receiving gratification instantly, delaying it is the key to success. Sacrifice it, and I assure you, happiness will find its way to you. This journey of receiving pleasure through delaying gratification is not easy, friends. If it was, more people would be successful. By sacrificing instant gratification, you learn discipline and how to put in the work, even if you don't feel like it in the moment. This is the recipe for success. You, who are watching this video, do not desire to be like the average person. That's why you're gaining knowledge on success. And one crucial thing which leads to success is the sacrifice of instantly gratifying activities. So the 3 things which will help you do just that are 1. Dopamine detoxing, breaking the addiction to dopamine flashes given by instantly gratifying activities. 2. Delaying gratification, which will replace the instant gratification habits with productive and fulfilling ones. 3. Starting the journey with the courage and patience needed for the momentum to build up in order to see the benefits of delaying gratification. Do these 3 things and see the benefits for yourself, dear friends. Good luck on this journey, and remember, it's not supposed to be easy and comfortable. It's supposed to be quite uncomfortable and hard, at least when you're just starting out. It's uncomfortable because the modern world has offered you comfort your entire life. But you must not accept it. You must live through discomfort. It is only by hardships and discomfort, after all, that you'll grow to greatness. And by enduring the discomfort, you'll reach success when others do not. Diamonds are made under pressure. And we both know that where comfort lies, pressure does not. How long are you going to wait before you demand the best of yourself? Epictetus. Waste not a moment more. Take action right now. Speaking of taking action, if you find yourself lacking in that area, then we've got just the video for you. Continue forward, where we'll welcome you to the 4th episode of the series. Good luck on the rare journey to success.